guys, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Amanda, and we're with Siouxland Libraries.
And today I think we're going to learn about raising chickens.
It certainly looks like it.
It's going to be excellent. All right, so we are here with Stephanie Peterson, who is a local producer of farm fresh eggs. Stephanie, thanks for having us today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm obsessed with chickens, and I run an egg operation here, and I sell eggs to restaurants in the Sioux Falls area. And I started out with about 16 hens. Well, if I even go back a little further, I started out with 4 hens in a suburb of Washington, D.C. And then when I moved here to this small acreage, I started increasing my chicken numbers.
Yeah,
so
how many do you have now?
I have about 230 right now. So
wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of chickens to take care of. But
how many eggs does each chicken lay?
So a chicken will lay an egg a day.
It's a lot
of eggs. Yeah, about 6 days out of the week. And that also depends on the weather and the time of year. So they lay according to the number of daylight hours.
Okay, so in the wintertime then there's fewer daylight hours.
That's correct.
Maybe fewer eggs.
Yep.
Summertime you get more eggs.
That's correct. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see as the seasons change, you just can witness it in the production of your chickens. Which is
and
cool.
then you mentioned temperature has an effect too. Which is better, warmer or cold? Probably warmer?
So it's funny, some breeds do better with hot temperatures and don't do so well with cold, but then you can also get breeds that do really well in our South Dakota winters here. So there's kind of a combination of whatever type of breed you want.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's different types of chickens, different breeds. What kind do you have?
So I have a variety of heritage breeds and hybrids. Heritage breeds are breeds that have been around for hundreds of years. They might be the same type of chicken your grandparents raised or your great-grandparents raised. Things like a Rhode Island Red, a Barred Plymouth Rock, an Orpington. And heritage breeds are just true to their breed. They also have a lot of their instincts still intact, so they act like a chicken is supposed to act. They know how to forage. Chickens were originally from the jungle. They were the original jungle fowl in Asia. And you know, we've obviously done a lot with them and domesticated them to a certain degree, but they do prefer being out foraging in a treed canopy would be their preference. So some of those heritage breeds do have that ability still, and it can cut down on your feed cost. It's also healthier for the chicken, and it's also a better tasting egg. The hybrids are more of a breed that has been bred by humans to do certain things. For example, you can get the red chickens that I have here are called Isa Browns, and those are a hybrid breed, and they're bred to be very docile and friendly, so easy to handle.
Yep.
And I have 160 of them, so
That's good. You want them to be easy to handle.
I want them to be friendly and nice and docile. They also are bred to be very high in egg production.
Oh, perfect.
So even if it's the dead of winter, they still will probably lay an egg almost every day because they're bred that way. So, yeah.
So you say they lay eggs every day. When do you have to go out and get them? Really early in the morning? How often are you collecting eggs?
So chickens will lay their eggs usually between sunrise and noon.
Okay.
So I actually keep some of my hens, a good chunk of them, locked in their barn until 12, and I have an automatic door that lets them out at noon. So that way I know they've laid their eggs for the day, they've laid them in the nesting boxes and not scattered around the farm.
Oh yeah.
It's much easier obviously to collect them that way.
Yep.
And then I go every evening to do my evening chores, and part of those chores are collecting the eggs each day.
This was so much good information, but now I kind of want to know, can you show us where you collect the eggs and kind of what the next step is after you collect them?
Sure, I'd love to.
Perfect, let's go do it.
All right, so we've got our eggs. So what do we do in this room here?
So this is where we wash the eggs. That's mainly what this room is for. So the eggs come in here, they get set here. They basically soak in a bucket of warm water for no more than 5 minutes. And it's important that the water be warm and not cold because The warm water will cause the interior of the egg to swell out and push any bacteria out away from it. If you put them in cold water, they can shrink from the inside and pull bacteria into the shell. So you don't want that. So they soak, then they go through the egg washer here where they just are fed into this, onto this conveyor belt, and there's bristles in there like a car wash.
Okay.
And they come out the other end nice and clean.
You have a lot of chickens, so I'm thinking there's a lot of eggs to be washed.
Yes.
How long do you think that takes for you?
Probably the egg washing right now is equivalent of maybe 12 to 15 hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of egg washing.
Yeah.
I'm selling about 200 dozen eggs a week right now, so the processing is definitely one of the biggest parts of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do chickens eat?
So chickens generally, you need to feed them some sort of a grain, some sort of a layer mix of grain. And I get all of my feed in huge 1,000-pound bags from a local farmer up in Canby, Minnesota.
Okay.
And he raises all the grain himself, harvests it and mills it, and has his own livestock feed recipe that he's designed. So he makes a specific feed for laying chickens.
Sure.
And it's all organic and it's non-GMO. And I'm also supporting a local producer when I do that. So it's great. So they'll eat that, and you know generally you can measure out 4 ounces of food every day for each chicken.
Okay.
And so then you can keep track of how much feed they're consuming each day. And then, like I said, my chickens are out on pasture, ranging about, and so they're also foraging and eating grass and weeds and bugs and worms, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they eat insects, right? Do they
Yeah.
have like a particular favorite one?
They love ticks.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
great.
good. Yeah,
right?
great.
That's great. They love worms, of course, any sort of grub.
Okay.
Yeah, they pretty much don't eat mosquitoes, fly larvae. I mean, they'll eat anything. So they're
Interesting.
really beneficial in that
Yeah,
manner
absolutely.
to have. Yeah.
You know, if kids or families were looking at, you know, trying to do more sustainable things or even having chickens themselves, are there resources for them?
Yeah, there's tons of resources, and I believe at the library and
Right.
at the City of Sioux Falls also has a lot of options for folks. I know at the library, because I've looked through a lot of their books there, there's quite a range of sustainable agriculture options and chicken rearing. There's also classes offered through the city of, well, mostly through the school district on how to raise backyard chickens, and I teach some of those classes.
Nice.
And families can take those together. You know, if they're thinking about getting backyard hens. In Sioux Falls, it's legal to have 6 hens in your backyard, and I would encourage anybody who's watching this to go out there and either talk your parents into getting chickens, or if you're an adult, you know, get your whole family on board. Learn about it, take some of those classes on how to raise chickens in your backyard, and really get close to your food source and understand where eggs come from, and, you know, grow them yourself.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about being out here is really just kind of understanding each step of the process. And yeah, getting to know where your food comes from. Super interesting. So we are from the library, and so we always ask, what was your favorite book as a kid?
Oh boy.
Or maybe even a favorite book now.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm a big fan of A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes. Oh.
That was one of my faves growing up. I also loved all the James Herriot. There was a series of them. All Creatures Great and Small.
Yep.
And there's a series of books, and I always wanted to be a veterinarian when I grew up, so I read those from front to back multiple times.
All right, well, I think we should take a look around at some of the other animals. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, great. Well, this has been pretty amazing to learn about all these chickens and all these sustainable farm practices. But what do you think? Should we get out of here?
I think it's time for these guys to eat and for us to maybe fly the coop.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.